As a teacher, what is the best excuse given by a student for missing a class, which turns out to be true? Well, she didn't miss the whole class, but she did miss most of a test, and just by looking at her body language, I could tell something was wrong. I teach in a community college, and one of my better mature students showed up very late for a test. She was pale and shaky, and very quiet, and something was obviously wrong. Once all the other students had left the test, and she was still struggling to finish, I sat down by her, and asked what was wrong. She said she'd seen a collision on the way to class, and could she write the test later, as she wasn't feeling very good, and wanted to talk to someone. I personally walked her to the student counseling center, and scheduled a rewrite of that test for the next week. The next week, she was feeling well enough to tell me the rest of the story. On her drive to class, while stopped at a red light, she had seen a motorcyclist run over by a small truck. Being a trained first responder, she had gotten out of her car and tried to help the motorcyclist, who basically died in her arms while waiting the few minutes for an ambulance to come. Once the ambulance came, my student got back in her car, and drove to the college for the test. She admitted that she didn't remember any of the drive to the